Beata Mońka, happy person. This is how I would summarize who am I. I am over 25 years in business, actually nearly 30, if I will count it so carefully. Doing different stuff, but what is the most important, I love creativity and I love connecting people. So managing a lot of companies, media companies, starting from global companies like WPP, Omnicom, through media companies here in Poland, up to communication companies like advertising agencies, social media companies, but also my private company that is about advising for the businesses. So I'm connecting those dots, trying to combine business, art, and sport all together.
And I hope you're happy to be on Voices of the Future.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's my pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Voices of the Future, and we are featuring some of the greatest minds in the world. And today we have Beata Mońka, all the way from Poland. I have a very soft connection with Poland. From my mother's side, my maternal grandmother originally came from Poland. So whenever I meet a Polish person, I share that story. So I remember all my friends in Poland with a lot of affection and a lot of connection. But today we're going to talk about Beata's amazing, illustrious career. And in some ways, like she mentioned about connecting the dots and so on, it's not dissimilar to what we're doing in Voices of the Future, because we have these 100 beautiful, amazing voices where we connect the dots and create a symphony, create this orchestra of putting all of these amazing minds together and somehow harmonize it, synchronize it, and take it into the future. Beata, welcome. Wonderful, wonderful to see you.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you very much, Tariq, for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you. So in typical Hollywood style, Beata, and I know this is a different kind of media, rather than going into the future straight away, let's do a little flashback. Let's go to little Beata. Was little Beata naughty? Was she curious? Was she going around chasing butterflies? And what inspired you when you were a young person?
Definitely, it was not Hollywood. It was still post-communistic, country before the old transformation. So it was a completely different time. But I was a dreamer. I was always the dreamer, and I was always the person who would like to do everything now. I couldn't understand why we cannot do several things at the same moment, and still I'm the same. But what is important, I was always, taught by my parents that the person should realize his passion, his or her passion, but in two ways. So first of all, to be faithful and honest with yourself for your values, respecting other people's and not harming them, and then to be very consequent in being such a person. So my top priority always was freedom. I wanted to be free. I wanted to do this what I want. So, for example, just to give you the example, I have chosen the primary school by myself. Not my parents have chosen it. I did it, as far as I could from my home. My dream was to go by bus as long as I can. I was living in Warsaw. So, as you know, Poland, I have chosen the most difficult district. When I was living in a small house and going there for the school, it was such, first lesson, how to be yourself, but at the same time, how to fight for your rights. So it doesn't matter that I was the only one child, but I had to prove who am I, and to find also, my own place in the society. So this is how it started, really. And doesn't matter whether there was the snow or there was warm. I was just going by myself to school from a very small childhood. I just, started the school quite early.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of words, and one of them was that you were a dreamer. Secondly, you were looking to sort of create freedom for yourself, which reminds me of a story. There was this little girl at school, like little Beata at school. She was asked a question, an exercise that, what would you like to be when you grow up? And the girl wrote, I would like to be happy. And the teacher came and said, no, you got the whole project wrong. What would you like to be when you grow up? And she looked at the teacher very innocently and said, I would like to be happy. And in your case, I would like to be free. I want to be happy. And the teacher wasn't getting it. But the moral of the story is that the teachers are asking the wrong questions. They're sort of saying, she wanted to say whether you would be a doctor or an accountant or a lawyer. And actually, happiness is one of those beautiful emotions, and love, another beautiful emotion, which we'll discuss a lot today, is something that our youth is not encouraged to follow at a young age. And they're much more forced into achievement and growth. And my parents just pushed me into getting straight A's. I had to do that all the time. If I got from an A or to A minus, I was in trouble. So I grew up in a very competitive space. So anyway, I wanted just to share the story that I think we need to tell our kids to be happy and to dream and to be free rather than just do a class.
Well, first of all, we should show them how to do it, because, we are the vivid proof, either this is true, what we are saying, or not, and what really means to be happy, as everybody of us has a different definition. So I think that, pushing anybody, doesn't matter whether it's a child or our employee, into our brackets and definition of being happy, we are wrong in that moment.
Understood. Moving forward quickly into your education, and as you started your career, what did you read at university and college, and does your career reflect what you studied at school, at university?
Well, again, it comes, from for my childhood. So before the year school started, I always read during already holidays everything what was obligatory. I love reading. Nothing has changed since then, and I just wanted to know what's going on during the school year. Of course, there were always, a lot of books that you had to read, but not always they were interesting, let's put it that way. And with this, in terms of the freedom, I always had a bit of the challenge, because simply if something was boring, I was not doing it. And of course, so as it wouldn't be ignorance, different people were reacting in a different way. So that's why, not because of my ambition, but because of some, let's say, challenge, as I said, with the teachers. I was Olympic winner of Polish language and of chemistry, but it allowed me not to attend the lessons that I didn't want to attend. So I prefer to have a risk, either, not to pass the exam at the end of the year, because, either you have to pass the exam, that qualify you to the promotion for the next class, or you had to be the Olympic winner. So I said that I will be the Olympic winner, and I was. So of course, it means, hard working, but this freedom and this price that I was sometimes paying, but it allowed me to be, faithful to myself. But always I was, reading a lot and trying to travel a lot. And I was always, trying also, to meet a lot of people. And I wanted always, to change the world. So that's why I studied here in Poland. I studied foreign trade in Warsaw School of Economics, but at the same time, I always wanted, to go abroad. So being after maths and physics, mentally, I'm very much about, human beings, so, languages and soft, let's say, skills.
Yeah.
But my mother was always saying that she was right, that, once you finish math and physics, your brain is very much, structure, and you need the order in all this, creativity. And she was totally right. So that's why I have chosen Warsaw School of Economics and Foreign Trade faculty. And in the meantime, I also, won the competition, and I wanted to go abroad to study abroad. And I went to Australia to study their business.
Yeah.
And this also, the time when I started working there, because, I was not coming from the rich house. So even to buy the ticket for me, it was a big challenge. We simply didn't have so much money. So I was applying for the discount. I was working, for free for airlines to get the discount. So this is how it started. And
we all do. And I think a lot of the stories that we have there, I would say 95% plus of the stories are stories of struggle, stories of starting from nothing. And that's actually what makes Voices of the Future so powerful, because they are real people, they're authentic, they've worked their way through, as opposed to being born into we call it the lucky sperm club. They were not part of the lucky sperm club. Then you joined media and all the agencies and stuff like that. That's a little shift from maths and physics to creatives and so on.
Actually, yes and no, because I always liked, to be predictable. So I loved economics. And once you love economics, you have to be profitable. Yeah. So if you start working, you need to earn. If you earn, you need to be able to count how much are your dreams and how much is real life. So, actually this math is extremely important. And then it's also, makes you smart, yes, to take quicker decisions sometimes, or I would say even very often. Yes, you have matrix situations. So once you are structured, there is not so much, internal discussion, or let's say, they are much quicker. And when I was in Australia, I started, working for Young and Rubicon. So I wanted always, to change world. And this is how I started actually being headhunted by one of the professors. And when I came back to Poland, I was thinking whether I should go to the consultancy that I also liked very much, or to the advertising. And as the advertising that day was just the beginning here in Poland, I said, wow, so this is the moment. If I want to change Poland, if I want to change, world, I should start with something that is really starting right now.
Yeah.
So this is how I came to advertising, and I introduced a lot of German brands to Poland. So, Knorr, Edusho, Wildenfrau, and stuff like that. I brought those brands here to Poland, of course, with my beloved clients. With many of them, I'm still in touch. So this is, as I said, over 20 years right now.
Yeah.
We are still friends. We are still acting together. So this is how it started. And actually, I would say that this is very coherent with this, what I wanted to do and what I did. Because again, media, I mean, of course, I was creating a big advertising group. So media house, digital company. I also had, digital bubble. So I had to close down the company. I was inventing for the first time here Met services. So advertising and Met, it was something completely new. But it allowed me also, to go very deeply and very quickly into particular lines of business that I really liked. So for me, it was, again, something that drew my passion, because I didn't want it to be just connected with one company, one brand. Here I had, multiply choice, let's say, and this relationship, yes, with the client.
Sure.
To have the partnership, it was extremely important for me. And the same with media.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah, so you have all this diversity in your career. What are you doing today that's really getting you excited?
Wow, a lot of things, depending, which corner you are looking at. I would say still the same. I mean, if I can create something that, first of all, can make a mixture of education, usage of my experience, and, huge network that I have at the moment, I still see that, once you connect more good people for a good purpose, you can really, really change the world for better.
Yeah,
So actually, it makes me the most happy when it works, when people are successful, when people are happy, when we can really make something insightful. And then what does it mean to make something insightful? You can start, from for example, educating people in terms of ESG, so environment, social governance, or artificial intelligence. Of course, you would say, yeah, but this is normal. These are top trends. True, but a lot of people, they do not understand it. Or very often when we are talking about technology, it should be something that helps us in terms of the life, but at the same time, we need to protect lives because when we have, for example, children addicted for the screens, look how many harm there is, including, their death. So I would say that we should be aware of this, what kind of the influence we are really doing, what we are promoting, with whom, and what we are doing for such every day.
Yeah.
And privately, I love traveling. Nothing has changed. I would say have, all the time the same life in that sense. Of course, it doesn't mean that I didn't have, the problems, yes, and very huge problems, I would say. But I think that everybody of us has. What is the most always, difficult is always, the death and the sickness of people from our family or in our companies. And I would say that this is the biggest challenge, how we face as human beings in such a moment.
Indeed, indeed. So as a futurist, I have reinvented myself as a futurist. I've done many, many things in my life, just like yourself. But 6-7 years ago, I decided to reinvent myself. And I went through the metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly to become this futurist butterfly. And I do keynotes all over the world. And I ask a question, perhaps I'll ask you that question, an open rhetorical question. And that is that, what do you think is going to define, what's one simple thing, in my view, as a futurist, and perhaps your opinion, will define our future? It's just one word, it's an emotion or whatever. What do you think that might be?
It was, it is, and it will be trust. Quite simple. It's so obvious.
You have read my papers. No, I absolutely, that's
I was not reading your papers. I'm promoting, since a childhood, as I told you. Yes, I was really grown up, and I was really happy as a child because I was surrounded with people, who loved me and who let me to be myself. So they trusted me. And I know how much it is, to get that trust. And how easy you can lose this trust.
Absolutely.
And I would say that, I'm here in Poland, I'm making a lot of meetings with foreign CEOs who are coming to Poland for a year, 2, 3. And, I even published a book. This is something that you don't know. The book is called Now You Know. So these are the stories about how expats came to Poland and what really surprised them. And one of those issues is really trust. Why? Because, Poland and Polish people as a nation, we are, and these are international research about it, you are a bit like Chinese. So we have very little trust at the beginning, yes? So it isn't so that we are saying to you, oh, yes, we trust you, just lead us and tell us you are so clever. No. We have rather, close position. Yeah. So first you will show me. I had such CEOs few times already. I will survive also you. While people from Western countries, they come, totally open, right? They give a trust immediately. Then this is the problem when you lose this trust. So, this bunch of the cultures, this is something very important. And I think that, nowadays, when we think about technology, so it means also weaker personal relationships, yes, with people. When we are talking about fake news, when we are talking about geopolitical, changes, wars, what is the most important? Trust and people's lives.
Absolutely. So interestingly enough, you're one of about 10% of the people who say trust. Normally people go to AI and technology and blockchain and all sorts of things, environment and so on. I say to them, all of that is relevant and all of that is important. But trust, truth, and ethics, that to me founds the foundation of my life. And that's the basis on which this little trifecta, this triangle of trust, truth, and ethics, because AI is going to be, and as we know, can be completely out of control if it's not done in an ethical manner. I was a part of a European Union project on drones, and I very innocently, and we were trying to write a manifesto for drones about 6-7 years ago, and I very innocently said, well, if we are programming the algorithms for drones, why can't we just program the algorithm as you will not kill any human beings, full stop, and any company that creates a drone, an algorithm which kills anybody, will be closed down. It was very simple for me. As a regulator, I said, this is what we do with nuclear weapons, this is what we do with financial services, why can't we do it with drones? Honestly, the people in the room actually laughed. No, but you're being too naive. Then that's the most financially rewarding app for military use. And I was very, that made me a bit sad because we as human beings have lost the plot in terms of hyper-capitalism and so on, that we're thinking more about how do we make the money rather than saying how can we change humanity. And that really left a mark on me. And part of what I'm doing as Voices of the Future is to make a difference. That's the fun, that's the end goal. Is all of us together can we make a collective difference through a collective voice. So those are the kinds of things. The other thing you said about technology, and I share that, is that as technology comes in and everything gets digitized, because everything that can be digitized will be, because it'll be 1 million times faster and 1 million times cheaper. But anything and everything that cannot be digitized, love, trust, ethics, harmony, imagination, creativity, heart, soul, spirit, critical thinking, common sense, all of the things will be a million times more valuable. And you mentioned education and learning. How much do we teach empathy and all of these values to our children as they're growing? Are we preparing them for a future?
So well, few aspects, because now we are running into the discussion. So in some aspects we agree with, the others you are giving me the challenge, because I think that whatever you would say, AI or any other trends, for me this is a tool. If we don't have the set of the values, and doesn't matter, for somebody it can be freedom, for somebody it can be trust, for somebody it can be ethics. This is by the way, completely another discussion, what is it really ethics nowadays? But without a set of the values, we are lost as a human beings.
Sure.
So how we can talk about, leadership, changing the world, if we do not communicate on a basic values?
Yeah.
If we are lost here, we'll do nothing together, nothing. So for me, this is, first priority, that I would like to have, people around myself who share my values. So this is, first and the most important subject. Of course, we have also many others, but then we don't have, to go into deep relationships, yes, with them.
Mm-hmm.
About love, Japanese and those who are the most advanced in AI would tend not to agree with you, and I would share you, technologies showing that the love actually can be already driven by AI, but with one exception: unconditional love. AI still doesn't understand what is it, unconditional love.
I don't even think AI understands what is love, because love is not an algorithm. Love is a chemical emotion. It is not algorithmic. So I'm sorry, I don't agree that AI will understand love. Maybe in 10, 15, 20 years it can. Today it cannot.
Depends what do you call love is. Because if somebody is, it is about, also feeling, receiving. And if somebody feels that he or she is loved, that somebody is waiting for her or she or her, doesn't, scream at him when he's late home, etc. We have a lot of such artificial gadgets, yes, who are waiting at you, even calling you when you are going to be home. Why so late? But not being nasty when you are coming in 5 days, and they are machines. So I'm saying, well, about something really. Here we are going into much deeper, discussion. What is it? But yeah, in old-fashioned way, let's say, love is love, but everything it depends. That's why I said unconditional love, because when you have unconditional love, then you do not expect anything from somebody.
Sure. But there are other emotions still, which AI, generative AI even, is extremely far away, and that is creativity, imagination, empathy, compassion. All of these things are still beyond the realms of any kind of machine for at least the next 20, 25 years. And this, I'm speaking more as a futurist. Now, we can have mechanical elements which will give us some comfort or some understanding, but empathy as a human still, and I genuinely believe that the more technological the world becomes, the more human we need to become. Because
so here
technology,
I have also,
yeah.
Here I have also, you asked me, who is teaching empathy?
Yes.
Well, actually, here in Poland, we have a very great person, Mr. Czepczyński. He's a private company owner, and he's promoting empathy. He's promoting about, and publishing the books, ABC of Empathy. He's trying to work, and he visited over 3,000 schools to introduce it as such subject to the schools. So there are people who are thinking about it. And here in Poland, we have also, university in Lublin, where I had also, the foundation supporting those people. We published a book for those who exactly were talking about the values and feelings that you are saying, like, compassion. Yes, this is something that you cannot catch. And yes, we should come back maybe to the discussion, what is it and how to implement it nowadays. Maybe sometimes we should, even teach ourselves, not only our children, but first of all, ourselves.
100%.
Not only, to talk about it, but really how to do it.
Yeah. In Japan, for example, up until the age of 8 or 9, there's very little schooling, but you actually still go to school. And one of the things beautifully that they do is every child has a plot of land, like one square meter. And in that square meter, the child has to grow rice. So the child has to learn about seeds, about water, about soil, about patience, about things that will grow, about sunshine, about the environment. And what an amazing immersive way of actually teaching a child. And I think those are the kinds of more immersive, practical kind of education systems that perhaps will help us, our kids in the future, and for that matter, ourselves.
For many years, I'm running here in Poland a program, how to promote authentic leadership. Because, you know, when you're in media, you have such, in my opinion, responsibility to promote those good patterns. And then what does it really mean? Because, you know, somebody asked me, but can we say something about, you know, the leadership that is not authentic? Of course, we have a lot of people who call themselves, you know, so-called leaders. But what does it mean, this authenticity?
Yeah.
I'm very careful about it, because this is, you know, consistency with this, what you are thinking, what you are talking about, what you are feeling. So, you know, this is this aspect that you just mentioned, and what you're actually doing. And I like, and I think that's also one of my duty, but also this what makes me happy to show such people, because this is for me also, you know, leading by the example.
Yeah. No, I think this is something we need to do, but do you trust media in the world today, especially big media? Because it is all owned by oligarchs and billionaires, whether it's Washington Post by Bezos, as Bloomberg by Michael Bloomberg, and all of them are multi-millionaires and billionaires. They control the money, and money controls the content, and the content that's coming in, and it controls, therefore, politics, and therefore it's destroying the world. And it's the media that's doing all of that. So you and I are both in media, and I feel extremely conscious and responsible, because I work for Dow Jones and Wall Street Journal, and I'm seeing a lot of difficulty there. I worked for the Times and Sunday Times as the publisher, and I worked for Bloomberg Media, 3 major organizations. And at this point in time, I feel a very a feeling that I cannot trust them. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would reverse the question. Do you trust people?
I start with trust. Honestly, I always start with trust until they break the trust. I'm actually the reverse. I'm not starting like this. I'm starting like this. And then I get beaten up and I get let down many times in my life. You know, 6, 7, 8 times out of 10, I am okay. But 2, 3 times I get hit. So yes, I trust people.
And media, these are also people. So everything depends who is what kind of the person. And I would say also, you know, what kind of the medium you are talking about. Because when we are talking about independent media, meaning those who have also budgets for this freedom, because freedom is also, you know, the cost that you don't have, you know, to be under somebody or influenced by somebody. And with the company culture that really supports it, journalists that are protected, and journalists, but also, you know, people who are working in the company who are fair, then of course that you can trust. Then you have to be selective, because, you know, now media, this is also when I make the photo and I will post it on Instagram. Then the question is, do you trust media? And then what media really is? Is it myself? Is it my Instagram? Or is it my fake account because, you know, somebody did it? So about this, we have to be very selective. What does it mean to trust? Second is, what kind of the content do we as consumers expect to read or, you know, to follow? Why is it so that in most of the times we follow something that really raises our attention, that is extraordinary? Or do we really read nice stories? No, we are very often bored with them. We even don't want to read. We prefer, you know, to watch a quick video, funny video, 3 seconds video. So, you know, look also, you know, our habits and our expectations, are changing. So I would say that this is, you know, two ways highway, because this is also, of course, you know, creating our environment, what we are expecting and what we are served on the plate. At the same time, as you said, huge responsibility of those who are giving this what is on the plate.
Sure.
But I think that it should go all together. It's very complex.
It is complex, and but the simple components of that complex for me, Beata, are that, and you mentioned money, and that is that the incentives to be aligned in a way that will protect our values and protect honesty and truth and objective truth. The incentives are not there. If a magazine is going to make $1 million from an advertiser, do you think they will ever write against them? The answer is no. The independent journalists will do, and we need to be able to really respect and follow some of those people who are standing there for truth. And this is where, to me, trust and truth also comes very much together.
That's why I said about the values, because, at the same time, what would you say about those who are, anonymous haters? It's very complex subject. If you disagree with me, be honest and just, underline yourself with your name and surname that you disagree, and let's have the discussion, not just let's make, hate. So I would say that's why I said, because, media are, a company like each other. Yeah. So like each other. So somebody who is selling, petrol or chips or cheese, whatever. This is also, the company, but that's why I said about this responsibility and being independent, but at the same time being selective as a reader. I'm sure that you have, the authors that you follow, that you trust. I'm sure that you follow, the titles that you also, trust. Well, you mentioned about values. This is so common right now when we are talking about ESG, how much greenwashing you have. Here also you have to be selective. Where is really, the campaign just, saying that somebody is green, and where really the company is, keeping the promise and is really taking care about the environment, about human beings, about the planet. So I would say, let's start from ourselves, each of us.
Yes, that's true.
Do we trust to ourselves? What do we represent on such, everyday basis? Who we are choosing to be surrounded with whom we work, with whom we talk, what we read, what we are inspired with, and what do we expect also from those who surround us, media, but also, food companies, travel agents, everybody. I mean, for me, this is, all ecosystem. So you cannot say just, openly yes or no to your question.
Understood. Fair enough. Beata, you sit on many advisory boards, and you are guiding people. You are in terms of strategy and so on. I do the same, and I talk to a lot of boards. Do you think the boards are ready for the future that is coming in front of them? And don't you think they are resisting it a lot in terms of the change and the speed of change coming in? And what are your challenges there?
Well, I like people, so again, this is too general question. What does it mean to be ready? You are never ready for a change, because this is our nature, that we defend ourselves from the change, because this is the effort. If this is the effort, why to make the change? At the same time, of course, we think rationally, so we know that without the transformation, we'll be not there in 5 years. So this is how we should lead the companies. But I would say, and somebody said it, so it's not my own quote, that instead of fighting this what you have at the moment, put your effort into creating this new. And when you put your energy, your mind, then very often you don't see all those barriers. So being ready, I would say, it's again very much complex. The management boards will not go there alone. So first of all, how you are going to lead nowadays? Do you understand all people that are with you in terms of the company? Right now, we have the generation change every 5 years. So imagine, the CEO who is 50 or 60 years old, he's managing 5, 6 generations. Does he talk to each of them? Does he know or she knows what is important for those people? Because if they will be not motivated, if they will not understand what they are doing, there will be that changer. And then, yes, the management board should be afraid of any change. But if we have, the real dialogue, and I don't like, the word agile and agile companies. No, either you are with people or not. And at the end of the day, people, they want to know where do they go and whether they are going to be safe, whether they are going, to have the money to protect their families from themselves. This is, one thing. The second is also about fun. If they like this, what they are doing. I can hear very often that, young people are, jumpers. No, they are scrolling the life, like on Instagram. So if we know that they are scrolling, let's give them, different plates in our restaurant so they can try in our restaurant, not jumping to somebody else, etc., etc. So I wouldn't say that the management boards are scared, but I would say that to be winning nowadays, you have really to be diversified and open-minded. And with this, nothing has changed. What has changed? The necessity of taking speed and fast decisions. Also, what has changed is the length of the contracts that you make with your subcontractors. Very often it is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So we are taking companies that will help us to go there we wanted, to go, but we're not with them forever. And there is nothing wrong if we are transparent and if this is, clear for both sides. So I would say those who are thinking where they would like to go, no, they are not scared. Why? I think, this is the journey, this is the challenge. So if you are leading the company, somehow you should like it.
No, absolutely. I mean, you should like it. My experience is that, and I'll throw a data point at you. You're a mathematician, you will like that. That the average age in the United States of a board member is 62. So they've only got 3, 4, 5 years to retire. Why are they going to, break all of that and risk anything? So they are very risk averse by definition. Secondly, they are not as technologically savvy. So therefore, when new technology comes in, the first thing is that they get scared. And they're saying, well, we don't understand this. So that's one of the reasons I create these youth boards, shadow youth boards below the age of 25 to come in and team up with some of these senior board members. Still, it's only 82% is male and about 18 to 20% are female, which I think is awful. That needs to be adjusted. Men, women, we're not getting investment for women. In the figure in the United States in 2022 was 2.3% investment from the VCs for women's projects, of which 40% had applied. So there is a bias that is intrinsic within that. So when I add all of these elements up, I feel that today's boards are older, whiter, maler, non-technical. Therefore, there has to be this revolution of adjustment and change to find a new way of addressing this, because a lot of these people are thinking linear, but the world is moving exponential. And that's part of the thing. And you mentioned the word speed. So they can't think in speed. They're, we've been successful for the last 30 years. Why should the next 20 years be different? And because I've been really successful for the last 20 years, it means I am by definition going to be successful. That doesn't apply anymore. We need to reinvent ourselves. We need to do new things. I did to myself. So this is, I'm just sharing openly with a senior colleague like yourself, is I find that the boards are really not ready for the shift and the change, the big changes that are happening. Because also they're scared, the amygdala clicks in. So, and that's what the media clicks in, is they hit the amygdala, they sell through fear. Yeah.
Again, complex. I think that this is too general to say, that people or management boards are unprepared. First of all, you have different companies. So I would say that when you compare corporate world, this is, maybe sometimes too much procedures and, overthinking and over steel core committees, discussions that lead us to nowhere. So this is what I said about, speed and personal responsibility, because when the change is driven by passion and by showing, the benefit for the group of the people, then this is a pleasure. Then this is, like a trip to unknown, but once you are prepared and you know that you are going, for example, to warm countries, you will not take a coat. What for? But when you're completely unprepared, then of course that you will be lost. Then with whom? How you will get there? So this is, the strategy. And Look, there is a lot of big companies, but of course we have also, huge privilege, and we see how many private companies are exploding right now, how many startups,
Yeah.
and just coming to this discussion, when you said, about people, being 50, 60 years old. Again, I would say this is the question, how you are running, with those young people. I'm working also a lot with startups, but also with the companies who are not any longer, the startups. They are successful, but led by people who are 30 or even under 30 years old. And once I had the discussion with them, and we had in a room over 100 people, and for the age around 50. And for my question, whom from us would you like to employ? They said, none of you. And then, of course, you would say, oh, a bit arrogant, because, here you had, thousands of great experience and ideas. So I would say that this is, from two sides, how we can benefit from each other, from the experience of people who are over 50, 60, how you
100%.
can benefit, from women, men. For me, leadership, and this is also what I am promoting for many years, not just when it started to be as one of the goals of the United Nations, yes, for diversity and inclusion. For me, the leadership, it doesn't have neither nationality or it's not political or doesn't have sex. We just need to have clever people. And, to have clever and open-minded people, again, everything starts from school, from home, from education. You cannot just force people. Now you have to think in such a way. Now you have to accept this or that. And of course, there are hundreds of discussion whether, we should have quotes for women or not. Again, let's start from building, first of all, the perception that all of us are equal. Each of us should have, equal access to the knowledge, then to work, then freedom of choice. You want to have children, not to be punished that later on you will be out of this queue for being promoted. So I would say this is something that all leaders and media are responsible for, to change the world. Now this is the question when we are talking about so serious things. How we as a leaders, how do we right now, and what do we do really in terms of the geopolitical situation about wars? Should it really happen nowadays?
Sadly, my personal belief system is it should not. We should have enough control mechanisms to be able to stop it somewhere down the line, and it's very sad that that's not happening. Just as we come to close towards the end, I'll share another research that I've been working with some people. This is from Boston. It was done in 2017, 2018, and now it's been confirmed by McKinsey, Accenture, and everybody else. And the thesis is that 75% of the companies that were created before the year 2000 will no longer exist in the year 2030, 75%. And 50% of the companies that have replaced those 75% were not born today. They're not alive. In other words, all the startups and the young companies and so on, and the speed at which they will grow. So this is our transformation decade that we're living in. Amazing times. I think more change will happen in the next 10 years than in the previous 1 to 2,000 years. So what is your expert advice to people as they look at this transformation decade, where companies are going down, new companies are coming up, changes are happening, technology, society, humanity, media? What's your synthesis of this as advice to people, family, to business people, to young people, and to old people, all of us really? I mean, you've seen all of it, so it'd be wonderful to get your wisdom.
I am far away from any advices because, I think all of us, we are clever and we are so individual, and everybody has a different point of view. I can say about myself, you will not believe with all my freedom and speed, etc. But adaptation is number one keyword, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
But at the same time, curiosity, what's going on to be next. But also, cleverness so I'm talking about trends, following trends and looking for the trends. Very often we think that it will be in 10 years, but when we look around, it is already there.
Yeah.
So not to be, old-fashioned. And, curiosity and this passion, not to be dead. If you want to be alive, business-wise, human-wise, and being dead is also for me, quite, wide, because it's not about, physical death, but mental death. So constantly we have to learn. We have to be hungry for the knowledge, for the movement. Somebody said, yes, that if you cannot talk, you can run, you can fly, but the most important is that you are moving, but having the experience moving into the good direction. So sometimes also, and I think that this is also what we forget right now, we should stop, like like in a pit stop, like in Formula One, to change wheels, maybe for another ground, to change our focus, not to, as you said, with those companies, to be eliminated from this race. But the most important is, I think, that we should answer ourselves if we want to be in this race. Because many people, they say it's not for me. And if they can afford to avoid this race and step back, to live on a village, to live out of the city, to skip their job, let them do it. Don't evaluate them. And I think
100%.
that tolerance, this is also, the key word, because the more tolerant we are, I think that the more resources we will have to bring us there where we really would like to be. So this is what I try to do. And at least I recommend to try it. But I know that this is, easy to say, more difficult to do it. As I said, everybody has individual context. So the most important is really to think about yourself and to answer this question where you would like to be in few years. And as we started the discussion, simply to be happy.
Indeed, happiness and love are the two highest level of vibrations, which I'm very close to my heart, that we should be looking and seeking for that, and we will find it. So as we come to the end of this very philosophical and engaging conversation, Beata, and I'm very grateful for you to be so open and authentic with it, let's get together and put ourselves in a time machine, in a capsule, to be transported into the future. And let's imagine today is your 100th birthday, and we are celebrating your 100th birthday.
Great party. So everybody
great party. So I was going to say, so what are we celebrating? And when you look out of the window, what do you see? Who is there? And how have we defined your life?
Well, first of all, that's why I invited everybody, because I don't want to be alone. This is number one. So I would like, to be surrounded in 100 years with people whom I like and who feel well with myself, for whom life hasn't changed or hasn't finished yet. So with those who are in constant move with me. I think that in terms of longevity and technology and our approach for healthy living, we have a big chance to live much longer than 100 years.
Correct.
So I would say that it would be the moment that we should sit down together and plan what we are going to do for the next 20 years, where we would like to be, whether it will be quicker than it was those 20 years ago, or maybe not. But to still, keep moving, realize our passions, and really, focusing our energy on today, and not stop dreaming about tomorrow. So
Amazing.
This is what I see.
Amazing. And if you were to put a little message in a bottle and leave it for our future generations, what will that one-line message be? Like, which probably you just said it, but a simple message for our future generations.
You see, this is about my freedom. I would not leave the bottle. This is first of all. I would love to have, the environment that is free of bottles, doesn't matter, glass or plastic. And I'm very careful about environment, all the animals. When you said about the research, I don't know if you know, but the research says that in 2050, 99% of the birds we have inside a plastic because they have eaten something. So let's be careful with those messages. I think that, in the time of the technology, first of all, we can set it virtually. And secondly, we can read in our minds. and our
Okay.
minds so brilliant that my message is very simple. Just let's be human beings and good people for everybody, animals, planet, and the others. Then whatever we create for a better living will simply be a good step. So once we look back one day, we would say, all right, I am proud that I created it. I am proud that I met this or that person, that I helped this or this person. This is also, something very important. I think that we should also, think who gave us a hand one day during all our entire life, and how many times we gave somebody a hand intentionally or intentionally, so as also, to change this life for a better one.
I understand.
This is the most important.
Beautiful words, a wonderful way to end. Beata, thank you very much again for all your time. You've been very, very, as I said, open, authentic, natural, energetic, smart, and I think a lot of people will love listening to what you had to say. So thank you for that.